for the week. Sorry for the delay. There's been some intense energy going on. This most recent full moon in Gemini had me looking at all kinds of things from a different perspective, and I needed a little bit of time to get my bearings. And then the moon spent some time in Leo. I think we're still in Leo now, which brings that fire. So it's just been really intense. So after meditating, I've come up with the 3 questions I'm going to ask for the week. Number 1, going into the holidays, what do we need to know to prepare for? Number 2, wrapping up 2019, what were some of the biggest lessons? And number 3, December 21st brings the solstice, and depending on where you live, it's either at the beginning of winter or the beginning of summer. So this is an excellent time to think about goals. So the question is going to be, what do we need to know about goals going into this next season? And for the first question, I've already shuffled the deck, so I'm not going to waste any time on that. So asking the first question, going into the holidays, what do we need to know to prepare for? And usually I pull 3. I go with the cards that feel warm or just jump out. This one needs to jump out. Okay. This one's close to it. That's okay. I'm getting that I need to pull 4. Okay. Lots of family stuff going on. Lots of family stuff going on. And I'm just going to go in order here. So the question is, and Instagram's limiting the IGTV posts to 10 minutes now. We used to be able to post 15, maybe even 20 minutes, but now it's 10 minutes. So I really got to jam it in fast. Okay, so the first card I pulled about what do we need to know going into the holidays is throat chakra. There's a lot of people holding their, keeping their sacred truth to themselves. There's going to be a whole lot of, I'm sensing challenges with the throat chakra. There's people that are growing and have different perspectives and don't see from different perspectives. And I'm actually seeing clairvoyantly sort of some conflict. So be careful with who you get into it with. Sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes you have to pick your battles. And, you know, if somebody's a firm believer in A, B, and C, you know, you can talk to them for 7 hours about X, Y, Z, and you're not going to change their mind. It's not worth it. So over the holidays, you know, don't make it so important about inserting your sacred truth on somebody that you end up arguing and just ruining the experience. Try to make the best of it. Number 2 is spread your wings. So there's a lot of people that are a little bit uncomfortable, not quite sure. I feel like this card is really representative. You can see this person's by themselves, and it's a woman. I'm picking up a lot of energy of people that are going to be introduced to family members, people that are getting engaged. There's going to be a lot of that energy going on. And for whatever reason, Spirit feels like the energy is right for this. So, you know, the message is to spread your wings. So, and the other thing too is that, you know, you feel like you're alone, but there is a whole lot of support, and there is a big light at the end of that tunnel. So, the next card I got, and this card is separate from these first 2 cards. A lot of rebuilding is, there's going to be opportunities for rebuilding. And sometimes people are ready and sometimes people are not ready. And you can't force that on somebody. This woman has her hand over her heart chakra, and there's a lot of pink in that, which indicates that her higher spiritual chakra that's connected to her heart chakra is activated. So there's somebody here has a very strong soul connection, not only to their heart chakra, but to their spiritual chakra. So what does that mean? There's somebody's really outgrown somebody else. And I think that the spiritual growth has been a little bit uncomfortable for somebody. but to go with it. And just to finish that up, the last one about this question is that love abounds. Even though we have our difficulties and our challenges and our, whatever it is we bicker about, love definitely abounds. And if you focus on the love, you can't go wrong. Okay? Got to watch the time. Boy, this 10-minute thing on Instagram is... Okay, next question. Wrapping up 2019. What were some of the biggest lessons that we need to know about and to really look at? Of course, Spirit will want me to pull the one way underneath. Okay. My Spirit wants me to dig underneath. Okay. This makes sense. Oh, really? Digging. Okay. Okay. Boy, this is great. This is really about healing. I love these cards. The first card that I pulled was a lesson of adversity. And it says, I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. So someone's had some major challenges. I don't need to go into detail about what that means. Lesson number 2 is change. It says, I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. So there's been a lot of change. And that movement is often uncomfortable and it can seem choppy. It's not like a smooth-edged, wheel. There's some points. And the other part of that change is that I'm drawn to is the light blue, which speaks to the throat chakra, and the indigo blue, which speaks to the third eye. So there's been a lot of change, and you're growing. You're growing and evolving, and that involves movement. Okay. The third lesson about to not, and this is to not take into 2020, is the lesson of blame. That energy of blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being, and that and in that blame, it's okay. When I say let go of blame, that doesn't mean that we have to forgive everybody that did anything harmful to us, but continuing to pour that energy into that blame takes us away from some of the healing work that we can do within ourselves. So in that space, we can transform from victim to empowered. And I'm not saying that we don't have the right to feel like victims when bad things happen. But what I'm saying is, I'm feeling that also there's a lot of people that need to let go of blaming themselves, that have had some bad things happen. You've blamed yourself. It wasn't your fault. You did the best you could at the time. So let go of that blame. Third question, what do we need to know about goals going into the solstice on December 21st? I don't like how I have to go so fast to get this in 10 minutes so that it'll post. Okay, and you notice that Spirit made me dig in that last question and pull that underneath. So it wasn't, these things are not going to come easy. If they were easy, they would have popped right off the top. That's why Spirit had me pull them from underneath. So it's going to take some deep inner work. Okay. Zinged right to him. Okay, so what would be good to think about goals going into 2020? Number 1 is empathy, being open to seeing both sides of a situation. So don't just see things from your perspective. Consider others' perspectives. Also need to know about regret. This it says, I know that I cannot change the past. So that's something that you've got to know. The third thing about goals is to have courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. Okay? So if you want your own personalized video reading emailed to you, go to the link in my bio.